All right, let's talk about something real. That feeling, that absolute panic when you try to speak a new language and your mind just goes completely blank. We're going to do more than just talk about it today. We're going to pull back the curtain, look at the science of what's happening, and give you some seriously effective strategies to build that confidence for good.
You know exactly what I'm talking about, right? You've done the work, you studied the words, but the second you open your mouth, poof, it's all gone. It is so frustrating. But listen, the most important thing to know is that it is not just you. This happens to pretty much everyone. In fact, this feeling is so universal, it actually has a scientific name. Foreign language anxiety, or if you want to get fancy, xenoglossophobia. It's a real, recognized psychological thing. So that sense of dread, it's not some personal weakness. It's just your brain doing what it's programmed to do.
So, if we're going to get a handle on this, we first have to understand it. What is actually going on inside your brain when that moment of panic hits? Let's pop the hood and take a look at the wiring. Okay, so it all kicks off right here, in a little part of your brain called the amygdala. Think of it as your brain's smoke detector. When you're in what feels like a high-pressure speaking situation, it can mistake the fear of making a mistake for a real threat, and that sets off the alarm. And when that alarm starts blaring, it just floods your system with stress signals, and those signals go straight to your prefrontal cortex and basically shut it down. Now, that's a huge problem because the prefrontal cortex is like the CEO of your brain. It's the part that plans sentences and pulls up vocabulary. It's the one part you desperately need to be working. And the result is that feeling we all know and hate, the mental block. Your brain's CEO is offline, so the words feel trapped. You know they're in there somewhere, but you just can't get to them because your brain is too busy handling a fake emergency to focus on language. Oh, and it gets better. This whole thing creates a nasty feedback loop. Stress hormones like cortisol start pumping, which makes your memory even worse. Brain scans actually show that activity literally moves away from the language part of your brain. All of this physical stress just makes you feel even more anxious, which, you guessed it, makes it even harder the next time you try. It's a vicious cycle. And hey, this isn't just some abstract theory. Look at this data. When adults were asked what stops them from learning something new, time was number one, sure, but look at what's right behind it. Self-doubt. Almost half of all learners. That brain-scrambling feedback loop we just talked about, this is what it looks like out in the real world. Okay, so that's the bad news. We've seen the problem, we've seen the science. But here's the really important part. You are not stuck in that loop. It's all about reframing how we see this anxiety, turning it from a terrifying threat into a manageable challenge. I absolutely love this quote. It just nails the mindset shift we need to make. Getting a verb tense wrong or forgetting a word, that's not failure. Not at all. It's information. It's a little signpost telling you, hey, work on this next. That's what learning is all about. For the longest time, the thinking was that anxiety is bad and you have to get rid of it. But modern psychology has a much cooler and, frankly, more realistic idea. Anxiety and enjoyment can happen at the very same time. Seriously, think about riding a roller coaster. You're nervous, maybe a little scared, but you're also having fun, right? That's the sweet spot we're aiming for. Yeah, researchers actually call this the positive turn. The big idea is instead of fighting a war against anxiety, what if we just focused on pumping up the enjoyment? When you find things about the process that are genuinely fun, you build up this emotional resilience. The enjoyment doesn't make the fear disappear, but it makes it smaller. It gives you the strength to push through. So how do we actually do that? How do we build that resilience? Well, let's open up the toolkit. We're going to get into some practical, science-backed strategies you can literally start using today to feel more confident and, yeah, have more fun. First things first, warm-ups. You wouldn't go run a marathon without stretching, right? Same idea here. Don't jump into the deep end. Start every practice session with something low pressure and fun. Maybe a quick game of Pictionary with your new vocabulary words. This does two brilliant things. It gently gets the language part of your brain humming, and it sets a positive, playful vibe for everything that follows. All right, technique number 2, use what you already know. Your brain is not an empty box. It's full of stuff you're an expert in. So when you learn a new word, try to connect it to something you already know really well. This creates what educators call a sticky hook. It's like mental Velcro. It gives the new information something to grab onto, making it so much easier to remember, especially when you're under pressure. Okay, real talk. Confidence comes from actually accomplishing things. But you can't accomplish vague wishes. That's why SMART goals are a game changer. I want to get better at speaking isn't a goal, it's a dream. A goal sounds like this. This week, I will learn 5 phrases for ordering food, and I will use them to order lunch on Friday. See the difference? That's something you can actually do and feel amazing. And this is how you bring those goals to life. A simple checklist like this takes that big, scary idea of getting fluent and breaks it down into wins you can see. Every single time you check off one of those boxes, I can introduce myself. I can ask for the time. That's a shot of confidence. It's visible proof that you're moving forward.
So let's put this all together. The whole point isn't about never failing. It's about embracing this beautiful cycle of trying something, messing it up, learning from it, and then succeeding.
This diagram right here, this is the engine of learning. You try, you fail, and that's okay. Maybe you flub the pronunciation or grab the wrong word, but that's not the end of the story. You look at that mistake, you figure out what happened, and that little bit of knowledge is what leads you directly to success the next time. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's an essential ingredient. So, if you take one thing away from all this, let it be this. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's a skill. It's something you build, one tiny action at a time. So forget about being perfect tomorrow. Just ask yourself this question. What is one small, doable step you can take today to start this cycle for yourself? Because learning to speak isn't about waiting for the fear to go away. It's about learning to speak even when your voice is shaking.